Hello, students. Welcome to the 17th online lecture for the subject of sociology. We will start with the fifth chapter of our textbook, that is Social Movements in India. The topic that we will study in today's lecture is meaning of social movement, its characteristic, types, and causes. The term social movement was introduced by the German sociologist Lorenz von Stein in the book History of French Social Movement from 1789 to the present in the year 1850. It became popular in the European discourse in the early 19th century. There is no single definition of a social movement. Different sociologists have highlighted varying constituents of social movements in various contexts. Let's see the definition of social movement. Turner and Killian has defined social movement as a collectivity acting with some continuity to promote or resist a change in the society or group of which it is a part. Another definition is given by Herbert Blumer, that is, collective enterprises to establish a new order of life. Now we will move on to study characteristics of social movement, which are as follows. Number one, essentially collective in nature. Social movement is not an individual action, it involves a collective action. A group collectivity has to be part of the movement. Number two, planned and deliberate action. Social movements have to be pre planned to be executed effectively. Movements are deliberate initiatives and not spontaneous in nature. Number three, ideology and objectives. A social movement is backed by an ideology. The ideology guides the course of the movement. It has a set of objectives to fulfill. Number four, social change. Social movements are oriented towards bringing about a change. It usually demands change in already established order or it resists change initiated by the authorities. Next is the types of social movements. Collective actions like protest, agitations, rebellions, resistances, and even riots are understood as forms of social mobilizations. However, these actions differ from social movements. Social movements can be classified in various ways using different criteria. All the classifications are based on scope, objectives, and operations. Cultural anthropologist David Aberley has defined four kinds of social movements based on two criteria. What is the target group for change and how much change is advocated? The types are alternative social movements, reformative social movements, redemptive social movements, and revolutionary social movements. Herbert Blumer has classified social movements into three major categories, that is, general social movements, specific social movements, and expressive social movements. Let's see the causes of social movements. The emergence of social movements may be due to various factors. Considering the fact that society is continuously growing organism, the emergence of a social movement can be attributed to the following causal situations. Number 1, cultural drift. a cultural drift may imply rapid change in values, ideas, and expectations in society. When the gap between what is expected and what is accepted widens beyond the permissible range in a given society, conflict emerges, resulting in the possibility of a social movement. Number two, social disorganization. Different processes of change like industrialization, urbanization, etc., may lead to uneven and unequitable growth in the society. New norms can clash with the already established norms. Existence of old as well as new norms in the society at the same point of time can lead to a sense of confusion. Number three, perceived social injustice. When a group of people develop a sense of dissatisfaction and discontent towards certain decision taken by the authority, they feel frustrated and unhappy. Such a feeling can result in a sense of social injustice, eventually culminating into a movement. Number four, rigidity in the normative structure. To ensure order and discipline, every society lays down a set of norms suitable to its members. Behavior patterns have to match with the normative structure of the society. However, in certain cases, the norms lose their flexibility and thus do not match with expectations of the masses. Social movements and social change. Social movements and social change are interconnected. This implies that every social movement aims to alter the society and thus is instrumental in bringing about change. However, it does not imply that every form of social change is the result of social movements. The two processes, though are strongly connected, it is important to distinguish between social movements and social change. Firstly, a social movement has a life cycle. It emerges, operates for the specified cause, and declines. Social change does not follow any such sequence. Secondly, a social movement is an organized, planned activity. However, social change is embedded in society. Also, it may not always be a deliberate and conscious struggle. Thirdly, though social movements are found in all societies, it cannot be said that they are universally present all the time in all societies. Social change is universal and inevitable in the society. Let's move on to study women's movement in India. Social movements that India has witnessed, experienced, and grown with the women's movement. It continues to hold special importance. In terms of the scope and spread, it extends over a long period and has influenced majority of the population over the globe. The women's movement can be studied with the help of the following phases. Number 1, impact of social reformers. Number 2, impact of nationalist movement. Number 3, post independence era. Number 4, towards women's empowerment. Number 1, impact of social reformers. The roots of the women's movement can roughly be traced to the beginning of the 19th century, when small groups of women and a few enlightened men addressed the issue of unequal status of women in India. The then women's movement overlapped with the social reform movement in many ways. Mahila Mandals were formed by Brahmo Samaj and Arya Samaj. These provided a platform to women to exchange ideas and grow. Social reformers like Rajaram Mohan Roy, Ishwar Chand Vidyasagar, Mahadev Govind Ranade, Behramji Malbari challenged the customary practices which were discriminatory. The concentrated efforts of reformers resulted in the British government intervening in the matters. The government enacted laws like the Sati Prohibition Act of 1829, the Widow Remarriage Act of 1856, the Female Infanticide Prevention Act of 1870, the Age of Consent at Marriage Act of 1891. Conscious efforts were made to educate women in order to bring them on par with Indian men. The Irish born feminist Margaret Cousins was instrumental in the establishing Women's India Association in Madras, today called as Chennai. It can be looked at as an important development because it was almost like India's first feminist group. She organized a conference in Pune in which delegates of different women's groups shared their ideas about education for women. This meeting crystallized ideas and inputs about promoting women's education in India. The All India Women's Conference was established in the year 1926. The impact of the British on the general aim and philosophy of the women's movement cannot be denied. Liberalism in thoughts and approach had set in, encouraging women to educate themselves. Women became more aware of their status and position in the Indian society. Number 2, impact of nationalist movement. The nationalist movement witnessed increased participation of women. The impact of Gandhiji on the thought and participation of women was diverse. Mobilization of women to fight for political independence implied women becoming aware of their rights. Women participated in large numbers in protests and agitations during the independence struggle. When men freedom fighters were imprisoned, their women counterparts handled the difficult and challenging circumstances. Women leaders who deserve a mention are Kasturba Gandhi, Vijay Lakshmi Pandit, Annie Besant, and Sarojini Naidu. Annie Besant led the famous Home Rule movement in which many women participated. Sarojini Naidu worked for women's suffrage, right to vote, and led the Congress wing in the civil disobedience movement. In addition, Muthulakshmi Reddy, Rajkumari Amrit Kaur, Sarla Devi, Sucheta Kriplani, Aruna Asaf Ali participated in the non-violence movement. The Quit India resolution passed in the year 1942 addressed women as disciplined soldiers of Indian freedom struggle. Number 3, post-independence era. The post-independence period witnessed a slowing down of the women's movement because political independence overshadowed its focus and purpose. The Constitution of India incorporated several clauses highlighting equality and justice to the Indian citizens, men and women alike. Several issues like tribal unrest, economic crisis, students' agitation led to collective struggles and protests, thus taking away the singular focus of the women's movement. The decade 1975 to 1985 was announced as the International Women's Decade, and the year 1975 was declared as the International Women's Year by the United Nations. A committee was formed to study the status of women in India. The committee published its report in the year 1974. The report towards equality addressed issues of invisibility of women, patriarchy, and violence against women. The findings of the report proved to be of key importance because it brought to the front the discriminatory and exploitative practices against women in post independent India. It surveyed and reviewed several issues pertaining to the problems of women that were assumed to be handled by them. This phase of women's movement focused more on violence against women, sex stereotyping, and further legislative demands for equality of women. By the 1980s, women's organizations were active in Bombay, Pune, and Delhi. By the end of the International Women's Decade in 1985, the focus of the movement has shifted considerably. Cases that proved influential in determining the modern course of the women's movement are Mathura rape case of 1972, Roop Kavar Sati case of 1987, Nirbhaya rape case of 2012. Increasing instances of crime against women like dowry deaths, eve teasing, and domestic violence were the reference points for feminists to sharpen the focus of the movement. Number 4, towards women's empowerment. The movement continues to gather momentum by percolating into the rural and tribal parts of India. It takes variety of forms ranging from women as beneficiaries to women as participants. Women from different professions have enthusiastically joined in the mission of empowering women. The women's movement can said to be the most productive movement. Its evolution and growth cannot be described in a monolithic fashion using a singular criteria of chronology, ideology, or geography. It has gone through several phases. The basic objectives of the movement can be summarized into three important points. They are: number 1, struggle for equal rights. Number 2, elimination of discriminatory practices. Number 3, realization and actualization of women's potential to empower themselves. The participants in the movement are women activists, enlightened men, voluntary non governmental organizations, and government itself. Here we come to the end of our lecture. We will continue with the chapter in the next lecture. Thank you.